I don't see anybody beating him.
I like Khamzat too. I think he's been really incredible.
Yeah, definitely. He looked better in the last fight. Obviously, it didn't last long, so we didn't get to see it. But normally, he's like Crash Bandicoot the first round, and then his energy dips.
DDP has been interesting, though.
I feel like Dricus is very underrated for
but
a
that's
belt
the thing.
holder here.
But that's the thing. If anybody was to, it would be Dricus, because that is the muscular endurance. If you look at like some of the fights nowadays, Mirab, Dricus, these guys that have the muscular endurance to be fighting at 7 the whole fight. But then you got someone like Mirab that's 7, 8 from start to finish, mate. That's difficult to deal with. And Dricus seems exactly the same. He's like 7, 8 the whole time. So if you don't kill him and get him out of there in that first round, second round, then you're gonna have a problem for the rest of the fight.
Khamzat Chimaev has sent a deadly warning that has shocked the MMA world, telling journalist Adam Zubayraev, "Let them prep for war. I'm prepping for murder." This ominous threat comes as both fighters prepare for their highly anticipated middleweight championship bout, expected later this year.
Это он сейчас, его пик идет вперед, базует. Ну, можно сказать, плохая версия меня, но сейчас вернусь.
And Duplessis' response will shock you. The champion quickly fired back on Instagram with a witty rebuttal. "Wow, that's the first time I've heard that one. Shakespeare in the house." The South African champion appears unfazed by Chimaev's psychological warfare as tensions continue to build ahead of their showdown. Let's break down everything we know about this developing rivalry and the fight that has the MMA world buzzing.
The plan for you is to fight Khamzat at Las Vegas. What's going on, champ?
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep your options open. I want to defend my belt at least 3 times. I just want him to know I am ready.
You're not running from Khamzat.
I'm not running from Khamzat. That is the next fight I want. Me and Khamzat will be bigger right now than me and Alex Pereira. That is the next fight.
White, the Chimaev-Duplessis matchup is done, but still lacks an official date. Initial rumors suggested it might headline UFC 317 during International Fight Week, but those plans appear to have shifted. Duplessis recently provided an update on the situation. "We have a potential of 2 dates. I already agreed to both," Duplessis told interviewer Sias Duplessis. "The announcement will be made soon. It's going to be happening in the next couple of months, maximum 4 months. Nothing signed, but I've already agreed to any date."
Khamzat Chimaev, what's happening? What's the latest? I mean...
So we have a date. But we have potential of 2 dates. I already agreed to both. A lot of people saying, is it this year? Yes, 100%. It's not far away. It's not that far away. The announcement will be made soon. And me and the UFC, we've known this all these rumors that came out with injuries. I don't know where it came from. It was ridiculous. I was like, okay. And I just left it for like a week. And then I was like, okay, everybody had their fun. Now you're all going to look stupid.
Yeah.
And we've already agreed on a date. We had, and that's been a while ago. So I'm just waiting for the contract, but that's the fight that's happening. It's going to be happening in the next couple of months, maximum 4 months. It's going to happen one of these days. But nothing signed, but I've already agreed to any date.
Yeah.
Any date that they gave me, I said.
This positive development comes after weeks of uncertainty surrounding the bout, including rumors of a potential injury to the champion that might have delayed proceedings. Initial reports suggested Duplessis was dealing with a serious shin injury that forced the UFC to reconsider their plans. These rumors even led to speculation about a potential interim title fight between Chimaev and rising contender Caio Borralho. However, Duplessis has emphatically shut down these injury claims. The champion has made it clear he's healthy and ready to defend his title against the undefeated Chimaev, who poses perhaps the most significant threat to his reign since capturing the belt from Sean Strickland earlier this year. For those unfamiliar with Khamzat Chimaev's meteoric rise in the UFC, Bors has been nothing short of dominant.
Khamzat's a freak, man.
How about,
especially at 170.
Dude, but he can't make the weight. He's too unreliable.
He just needs to be a little bit more disciplined. Bro, 170, he's almost unstoppable. Even when Gilbert caught him on the noggin multiple times and dropped him, remember?
Yep.
Still fucking kept going like that guy never stopped coming.
The Chechen-born fighter remains undefeated in the UFC, with impressive victories over former champion Robert Whittaker, former welterweight champion Kamaru Usman, and top contenders Gilbert Burns and Kevin Holland. His wrestling-heavy approach has overwhelmed opponents with his first-round submission of Whitaker at UFC 308 cementing his status as the clear #1 contender. Now training for his first UFC title opportunity, Chimaev appears more dangerous than ever. Adding another layer to this story is Darren Till's involvement in Chimaev's training camp. The former UFC fighter and one-time opponent of Du Plessis has been asked to help prepare Chimaev. He asked me to come over and help with the striking stuff, Till told Bloody Elbow. I think Khamzat the first 2 rounds is unstoppable. Obviously his cardio and conditioning has been questioned, but I think he's fit as FK.
Everybody he gets a hold of, he just ragdolls. Even like really elite wrestlers.
Do you think it's different with Du Plessis?
He can wrestle. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. He hits hard. He's a big, durable dude. But I don't know if he's going to be able to wrestle with that guy. The Khamzat's skill is so high level in terms of like the grappling that he possesses seems magnitudes greater than anybody else in his division.
Hill's familiarity with Du Plessis could prove invaluable, as he nearly defeated the South African before being submitted in the 3rd round of their 2023 bout. If he's so prepared for a fight like that, I don't see how DDP beats him, Till continued. But DDP keeps beating everyone, so I'm not going to look past him, but I just can't see him beating Khamzat. He's just too strong for him, and he'll submit him.
Wanted to get your thoughts on Dricus as a champion, his run so far, and what do you make of his grappling?
What do you think, guys? How I done with this guy, Rob? How he done? Rob took him down. So if Rob took him down, so Larry Salam Alaikum.
The reigning middleweight champion has built a reputation for defying the odds and finding ways to win against seemingly more talented opposition. After dethroning Sean Strickland at UFC 297 and successfully defending the belt in their rematch at UFC 321, Du Plessis has silenced many critics. His resume includes impressive victories over Robert Whitaker and Israel Adesanya, establishing him as a legitimate champion despite initially being underestimated. Even Till, who came close to defeating him, acknowledges Du Plessis' unique ability to get the job done. He's beat them all, Till said. You have to give the guy props. He gets the win, he gets the job done, so who are we to hate? Who are we to judge? Fair play to the guy. Another potential hurdle for this matchup involved Chimaev's ability to compete in the United States due to visa issues. However, Dana White has put those concerns to rest.
I like that little accent impersonation you did. Have you got more Khamzat Chimaev impersonations?
I have, yeah. But
Go on.
He'll come down in the morning and be like, brother, why are you not ready? Come on, brother, we go running. I'm like, Khamzat, it's 6 in the morning, go away. But yeah, honestly.
With this obstacle cleared, the fight could potentially be scheduled for UFC 319 or another upcoming pay-per-view event in the United States, opening up several potential dates for this blockbuster matchup. The matchup presents a fascinating stylistic clash between Du Plessis' well-rounded skill set and Chimaev's overwhelming pressure and grappling. Chimaev will likely look to implement a similar game plan to the one he used against Whitaker, pursuing an early takedown and submission. Meanwhile, Du Plessis has emphasized his preparation for a ground battle, suggesting he won't be easily controlled.
Khamzat and DDP, the next fight. Who do you think is going to walk away as the champion here?
I can't see anyone really stopping Chimaev's takedowns. Like, his takedowns are so hard to stop. It's super high level. Can DDP drag it into those later rounds? Can it get through the first grappling exchanges and then start to capitalize on his just like persistence, like doggedness to go away? Honestly, if Chimaev can't get DDP out of there, DDP wins. DDP wins almost every fight. You can't get rid of him, right? Because he's like mold, dude.
Adding another perspective, rising middleweight contender Renier de Ridder believes he knows how to defeat Chimaev based on their previous training session. That's one that I see happening pretty quickly. I know how it goes down, de Ridder said on Submission Radio. We've had some rounds together. I think I have a good shot. He added, I think what makes him special is the aggression he comes out with. People get overwhelmed by how explosive he comes out and how hard he chases the back right away. That's mostly what makes him so dangerous. As we await the official fight announcement, the war of words between Chimaev and Duplessis continues to escalate. With Chimaev prepping for murder and Duplessis dismissing these threats with humor, the stage is set for what could be one of the most anticipated middleweight title fights in recent memory. For UFC Tonight, this has been your comprehensive breakdown of the developing situation between UFC middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis and challenger Khamzat Chimaev. Stay tuned for more updates as this story develops.
It's probably going to be late 2025 if everybody does what needs to be done, and right now everybody is pulling their parts. So for me to sit around and wait for that, I'm at my age, young, I'm healthy, I'm ready to do it. So if I fight Khamzat next, I beat Khamzat Chimaev. And this is just me spitballing. I beat Robert Whittaker, then I beat Sean Strickland, then I beat Israel Adesanya, then I beat Khamzat Chimaev. Mm-hmm. That warrants a double title fight. Mm-hmm. And I think that might just be it. So, I mean, for me, I have this vision, and I can't picture anything more perfect than that. But to be completely honest, I do not care who it is. South Africa would go crazy no matter who I fight. So, if I fight Khamzat now, then Strickland in South Africa, or fight Strickland now, fight Khamzat, International Fight Week, then come to South Africa, all that it's kind of a blur. But at the end of the day, there's a goal that needs to be reached, and that is fighting in my home country and getting that second belt. And to do those on the same night, that would be pretty sweet.
Dricus du Plessis has finally broken his silence on those injury rumors that have been circulating throughout the MMA community. Not only is DDP setting the record straight, but he's also sending a clear warning to undefeated contender Khamzat Chimaev and anyone else eyeing his throne. Let's break down exactly what's happening with the middleweight title picture and when we might see the South African champion back in action.
There are reports that Dricus du Plessis is injured and out of his fight against Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 317 on International Fight Week. This is per Kevin Iole. Khamzat Chimaev seems to have confirmed this news as well by saying, of course, this, which is on the screen right now. This guy big as the bullshit, brother. And Caio Borralho is looking to step in and save the day against Khamzat Chimaev.
For weeks now, rumors have been swirling about Dricus du Plessis suffering a significant injury that would keep him sidelined for an extended period. The speculation really gained momentum when veteran MMA journalist Kevin Iole reported that du Plessis was injured and unable to face Khamzat Chimaev at the upcoming UFC 317 card during International Fight Week on June 28th.
Is Khamzat going to be able to take me down? Absolutely. Absolutely, he'll be able to take me down. This is how a fight works. I would hope so. Isn't he like some Swedish champion or something? I would hope he could take me down. But then he has to deal with me on the ground, and he has to keep me there. Can I take Khamzat down? Absolutely. Am I going to take Khamzat down? Absolutely. I'm not scared of Khamzat wrestling. I'm not evading. I'm not trying to stay off the ground with Khamzat. That's the mistake everybody makes.
The situation intensified when fellow middleweight contender Caio Borralho claimed to have inside information, stating that du Plessis had broken his shin and would be out of action for approximately 6 months. Borralho even went so far as to suggest that an interim belt might be necessary, conveniently positioning himself as a potential candidate to face Chimaev for that interim title. Meanwhile, Khamzat Chimaev added fuel to the fire by posting a graphic of himself and du Plessis last week with the caption, "Good news," only to follow up by writing, "This guy biggest bulls," alongside a facepalm emoji, seemingly confirming that the fight had fallen through. With so many conflicting reports and no official statement from the champion or the UFC, fans were left wondering what was really going on with the middleweight title picture and when we might see the next championship bout. Well, the wait for clarity is finally over. On Thursday, Dricus du Plessis took to Instagram to address the situation directly, and his message couldn't have been clearer. Du Plessis wrote, and I quote, "Okay, so everyone had their opinions and rumors and stories about a shin break and injuries, etc. I found it all very entertaining. Unfortunately, none of it is true myself, and at UFC already discussed a fight date and opponent. The June fight was never signed. I did not pull out of any fight. I am the champion. I know when I fight you. As a contender, just show up when we tell you to. Fight announcement coming soon. Stay tuned. Prepare to be amazed. Still knocks. That's quite the statement from the champion. Let's break down the key points here. First, du Plessis is categorically denying that he's injured. He specifically mentions the rumors about a shin break, calling them entertaining but not true. Second, he clarifies that while many expected him to headline UFC 317 in June, that fight was never officially signed, meaning he didn't pull out of anything.
Khamzat is an incredible fighter. Nobody has been able to beat him, but he hasn't fought anybody of note other than Robert Whittaker. That is it. This is not a grappling competition. I am not the best grappler, wrestler, or striker. When we mix it all up, I am. That's why I have this. He couldn't even get a title at welterweight. Now he wants to come to middleweight. Great, let's go.
Third, and perhaps most importantly, he's asserting his position as champion, essentially saying that he calls the shots now, not the contenders. His message to challengers like Chimaev is crystal clear. I am the champion. I know when I fight you. As a contender, just show up when we tell you to.
Now it's my time. Don't run too much. Let's wait, man.
And finally, he teases that a fight announcement is coming soon, indicating that we won't have to wait long to find out when and against whom he'll be defending his title next. With those decisive victories, du Plessis has firmly established himself as the king of the division, and his message reflects that status. He's essentially telling Chimaev and other contenders, I'm the champion now. I dictate the terms.
Sean Strickland beats Imamov every time. If you make that fight, you're just eliminating another contender. And you can't have a trilogy fight with one guy beating the same guy twice. Strickland is Robert Whittaker right now, and I'm Israel Adesanya of 3 years ago.
I don't know if you like matchmaking.
I can almost guarantee you what's happening next. I think you make the Kyle and Imamov fight. Is there any bet that he's fighting Adesanya next? The Adesanya rematch will be amazing. Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
This is a power move from du Plessis, sending a clear warning to Khamzat Chimaev and anyone else in the division. The undefeated Chimaev has been seen by many as the champion in weight after his dominant submission victory over former champion Robert Whittaker last October, where he actually fractured Whittaker's jaw in the first round.
Khamzat's next. Khamzat is next. I want to make sure that this belt, the middleweight title, that there's no question that I'm the GOAT of the middleweight division. And I know that, you have Anderson Silva. In my mind, he is the GOAT of this division. And you have Adesanya, who's done incredible things. But it's not about how many times just you defend. It's about who you fight, how you defend it, and how you've done it, and what period of time have you done it, and who have you fought, and making sure that there's no question that I am the best middleweight, then going up. So I'm not rushing that my next fight is Alex Pereira. No. I want the Khamzat next. I think he deserves a hiding.
However, du Plessis doesn't seem intimidated in the slightest. In fact, sources close to the champion have indicated that du Plessis believes he would beat Khamzat too, adding another layer to this developing rivalry. While du Plessis has clarified his own situation, this still leaves UFC 317 without a clear main event. The card is scheduled for June 28th in Las Vegas during the promotion's annual International Fight Week, which typically features one of the biggest events of the year. With du Plessis apparently not competing on that date, the UFC will need to find another headline-worthy championship fight. Currently, talks between heavyweight champion John Jones and interim champion Tom Aspinall show no signs of progressing, making that dream matchup unlikely for the June card.
Got the takedown, and then all of a sudden I had his arm trapped, and I was just landing these massive shots, and I was just landing shot. And the next moment the ref was telling him, listen, I'm going to stop this fight. And glad the ref didn't stop the fight. A lot of people said maybe they could have. No, it was fair play. Every time the refs warned him and told him to improve his position, he did do that.
There are reports that former featherweight champion Ilia Topuria could be competing at UFC 317, potentially for lightweight gold against either champion Islam Makhachev or Charles Oliveira. According to MMA journalist Ariel Helwani, Topuria has already started his fight camp, and is expected to compete for a title on that date. As for the middleweight division, with du Plessis teasing an imminent fight announcement, it's likely we'll see him defend his title against Khamzat Chimaev later this summer or early fall, assuming all parties can come to terms on a date and location.
Topuria has felt like he's done all that he can in that division, and he feels like he's cemented his legacy, and his body cannot make the weight anymore. So Topuria will be moving up to 155 pounds and will be vacating the featherweight title.
Meanwhile, contenders like Caio Borralho, Sean Strickland, and Robert Whittaker will need to stay ready in case an opportunity presents itself. So there you have it, fight fans. UFC middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis has emphatically shut down injury rumors and sent a stern warning to Khamzat Chimaev and other contenders in the division. With a fight announcement apparently coming soon, the 185-pound title picture should become much clearer in the coming days or weeks.
Is he good enough to defend the takedowns of Chimaev? Let's go further with it. Is he good enough to take Chimaev down? I've never seen Chimaev lose a stand-up fight. I want you to know how good Dricus is at a stand-up fight. Do you believe that Chimaev can tackle this man? Chimaev has gotten on top of everybody with no exception inside of 5 minutes. And you guys remember the Robert Whittaker fight. He came right across the ring, got him right down right away. Chimaev versus Dricus feels different. What a match. Dricus du Plessis, world champion. It's not quite as obvious that he couldn't go with Alex Pierre. It's not quite as obvious as it felt. It's not quite as obvious that he can't go with Chimaev. Things feel very different right now.
What do you think about this situation? Are you excited for an eventual du Plessis v Chimaev showdown? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this update, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss breaking news from the world of combat sports. Khamzat Chimaev just sent a brutal warning message to UFC middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis as their anticipated UFC 317 showdown hangs by a thread. The undefeated Chechen Wolf took to Twitter with a scathing 4-word attack.
There are reports that Dricus du Plessis is injured and out of his fight against Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 317 on International Fight Week. This is per Kevin Iole. Khamzat Chimaev seems to have confirmed this news as well by saying, of course, this, which is on the screen right now.
This guy biggest bullshit, complete with a dismissive facepalm emoji that has the entire MMA community buzzing. Is Dricus du Plessis really injured as reports claim? Or is the champion scared to face the Khamzat monster?
Khamzat is an incredible fighter. Nobody has been able to beat him, but he hasn't fought anybody of note other than Robert Whittaker. That is it. This is not a grappling competition. I am not the best grappler, wrestler, or striker. When we mix it all up, I am. That's why I have this. He couldn't even get a title at welterweight. Now he wants to come to middleweight. Great, let's go.
Has the South African champion found a convenient excuse to avoid the UFC's most feared contender? Today we're diving into this explosive situation, what it means for International Fight Week's massive main event, and the shocking new challenger stepping up to face Chimaev. The MMA world was thrown into a frenzy when veteran combat sports journalist Kevin Iole reported that middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis has suffered an injury that threatens to derail the highly anticipated UFC 317 main event.
Khamzat over here. Salam. Congratulations on your win. Wanted to get your thoughts on Dricus as a champion, his run so far, and what do you make of his grappling?
What do you think, guys? How I done with this guy, Rob? How he done? Rob took him down. So if Rob took him down, so there is salam alaikum.
Islam Makhachev's future. Iole casually dropped a bombshell, writing, "I'm hearing Dricus du Plessis is injured, and though there has been no confirmation, if that's accurate, a bout between du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev couldn't headline International Fight Week." While the UFC had never officially announced this matchup for the June 25th card at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, it was widely expected to serve as the headliner for the promotion's biggest annual event. Du Plessis is coming off a successful title defense against Sean Strickland at UFC 312. his second victory over Tarzan after initially capturing the belt via split decision at UFC 297 in January.
The past 2 years, during this week, the International Fight Week headliner has been announced. We don't have that yet. Are you guys pretty close to having that? I think a lot of people are excited to maybe see Khamzat Chimaev in a title fight. Is there any chance he's being looked at?
That would be fun. Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For Chimaev, this represented his long-awaited shot at UFC Gold after demolishing former champion Robert Whittaker in his last outing at UFC 308 last October. The undefeated phenom has been viewed as an inevitable champion by many analysts, making this potential postponement all the more dramatic. Khamzat Chimaev didn't wait long to react to the news. Taking to Twitter on Friday evening, the 14-0 fighter wrote, "This guy biggest bullshit," with a facepalm emoji. The ambiguity of his statement has sparked debate among fans. Was he calling du Plessis' injury claim into question, or directing his frustration at Iole for reporting it? This wouldn't be the first time Chimaev has cast doubt on an opponent's injury. Throughout his UFC career, Boers has repeatedly accused rivals of avoiding him, famously proclaiming, "I kill everybody," and challenging fighters across 3 different weight classes.
I'm the king here. I will say a long time I'm gonna come for everybody. I kill everybody. You believe me now? Everybody. I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king here.
What makes this situation particularly interesting is that du Plessis has been openly calling for this matchup. After his victory at UFC 312, the South African champion specifically named Chimaev as his preferred next opponent, saying, "I want Khamzat next. He deserves a hiding." Du Plessis even passed on a potential super fight with Alex Pereira to pursue what he felt would be a more legacy-defining bout against the undefeated contender.
Khamzat's next. Khamzat is next. I want to make sure that this belt, the middleweight title, that there's no question that I'm the GOAT of the middleweight division. And I know that, you have Anderson Silva. In my mind, he is the GOAT of this division. And you have Adesanya, who's done incredible things. But it's not about how many times just you defend. It's about who you fight, how you defend it, and how you've done it, and what period of time have you done it, and who have you fought, and making sure that there's no question that I am the best middleweight, then going up. So I'm not rushing that my next fight is Alex Pereira. No. I want the Khamzat next. I think he deserves a hiding.
As news of du Plessis' reported injury spread across social media, an interesting development emerged. Brazilian middleweight contender Caio Baralho has publicly volunteered to step in against Chimaev. The number 6 ranked fighting nerd took to social media, writing, "I know a guy at UFC, you know who to call," and later claiming, "Khamzat said yes. The only thing that makes sense is the interim belt. This fight is going to be bigger than him versus Dricus. Marks my words."
So you've trained with Borashina, you trained with Khamzat Chimaev. Who's the toughest guy you've ever trained with? Who's giving you the most fits inside the practice room?
For sure, the hardest guy to train is Khamzat. He's a very hard guy to train, but his style, his wrestling background, he's very good at wrestling. He goes hard all the rounds. I think he's one of the hardest training to do, I've been training with Sean Strickland and Curtis. He's very tough guys, hard training. Training with Sean Strickland is very hard too, because he always push you forward, like screaming at your face and stuff. But I think Khamzat is the guy who is most difficult to train with, for sure. But it's the guy that I developed myself most, so.
This potential matchup has quickly escalated, with both fighters engaging in a heated back and forth on Instagram. Chimaev posted an image from their previous sparring session that showed him taking Baralho down, writing, "If we will fight 100 times, you will never win. If somebody knows, you know that, bro." Baralho fired back with, "If you say so, sign the contract and we will see." While an interim title fight would be unusual given that du Plessis just defended his belt in February, the UFC has been known to create interim championships when main event fights fall through for major cards. International Fight Week is the promotion's biggest annual showcase, and finding a suitable headliner will be a top priority for UFC officials.
What's your in-game goal in mixed martial arts, right? You reach the pinnacle of it. Like, do you have any interest in the future, like going up to light heavyweight? Or you're like, you know what, I'm going to try to defend the belt as many times as I can, and then I'm going to ride off to the sunset? Or are you just looking for the biggest fights and just trying to enjoy yourself?
Yeah, well, you know, where I'm at right now, you know, I'm chasing the legacy of the middleweight division 100%. It's my first priority. Would I like to go up and fight for another belt? Absolutely, but definitely not now. I have work to do at middleweight. There's too many big fights right now that I have to take care of. And that's where my attention lies. But I most certainly, I cut a lot of weight to get to middleweight for sure. But in the future, yes. But for me right now, the middleweight is where my attention's at, and leaving my legacy in the middleweight division. There's too many big fights, and I want the big fights. I want the hardest possible fights so that my legacy can never be doubted. That's what I'm after. And when the day comes that I don't want to do this anymore, I'll be done.
With UFC 317 just over 2 months away, the promotion finds itself in a difficult position. International Fight Week traditionally features one of the year's biggest cards, and losing a championship main event is a significant blow. The UFC has several options moving forward. They could proceed with Khamzat Chimaev versus Caio Borralho, potentially for an interim title as Borralho has suggested. While Borralho doesn't carry the same name recognition as du Plessis, his undefeated UFC record and recent win streak make him a legitimate contender.